Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla if you're new here, and I make videos about how I show up for myself in hopes of inspiring you to do the same. In today's video I am joined by this lovely lady here. Don't adjust your screen, there's not two of us, although the much darker version of me, but
round version
of me. This is my lovely sister Addrianna. If you guys have never seen her before or don't know anything about her, she was and well has been my inspiration my whole life, but also was my inspiration to lose weight. Addrianna lost 6.5 stone before I did, basically carved the path for me and very gently nudged me towards the starting line, very gently when I was ready, but she did not do it beforehand. So we have filmed a Q&A together before, which I believe we did too, because like my sister, like myself, Addrianna and I are not short-winded. So we did 2 parts. I'll leave them up here if you guys want to check those out. But we asked questions on Instagram and on YouTube itself. And my gosh, did you guys have some questions. So we are just going to
go for it.
Throw it in. We're going to do kind of a mix of both. We'll probably do 2 parts because, yeah, exactly. Because we talk.
I used to think I was a listener, but actually I think I'm a talker too.
It depends on who you're with.
I am a listener.
You are. You're a really good listener. You're also, like when you're with me, we're just saying.
Yeah, we are.
So let's go for a really easy one. Do you still count calories?
No, not specifically. I have a vague idea of where I am on a daily basis, but I wouldn't. No,
you don't
I don't actively count calories. No, I don't.
And did you use an app when you were counting calories?
I did. Yeah, I used my fitness pal.
Yeah, same.
It's dead handy. Yeah.
It is dead handy. How to have a high protein breakfast?
Eggs. Yeah. That would be me. Eggs. Just poached eggs. Scrambled eggs. Now I'd have it with a bit of toast. Then I wouldn't. I would just have eggs and sometimes asparagus and eggs. I know it's not protein, but that would be. Does that sound horrendous? I love asparagus and eggs.
I love asparagus and eggs. So no, it's the texture thing.
You're a vegan. Why would you even enjoy an egg?
I would. Yeah. But actually, I love scrambled tofu.
Okay,
that was a big one for me when I was pregnant, because I don't eat breakfast. You don't eat breakfast anymore, do you? No, we both intermittent fast. But when I was pregnant especially, I would eat scrambled tofu and spinach. So it's actually kind of not too dissimilar. Yeah. But I would have one of the thin bagels and cover it in hot sauce because heaven forbid you could eat something without chili.
Jalapenos.
We have that in common. Any aha moments you wish you had had earlier in your weight loss journey? Like halfway through and you're like, oh, of course, I wish I'd known that 3 stone ago. Or near the end looking back. Mid-journey here and digging deep. I know you all know what I mean. Thank you both for being my inspiration to sign up to Body Slims. You're changing lives. That's from American Slimmer. Do you want to repeat those?
Wow, no. Yeah. You answer first, because there's a couple of things going in my head and I'm trying to filter through them.
I think for me, I think the aha moment I wish I'd had earlier in my life is that I'm not my thoughts, and that the narrative that I've created for myself, I have the power to rewrite that. I think that's something that I wish I had known, not wish because everything has led me to here, but I think that would have been a really great thing to know beforehand. I also, the thing about consistency and that you don't get days off, and really understanding that it's not about motivation, it's about consistency and doing the things. It's not sexy, it's not, always fun. It's about doing them day in, day out to get the results. And just when you keep stacking those days on top of each other, you get there. I think that's something for me. If I had kind of drilled that down earlier in my life, I think I would have, in everything, it would have made things a little bit easier.
I can't think of any during. I can think of before, and I might, if I go for my before ones, that losing weight isn't a lifelong process. That because you always have this mentality that it's going to take forever because you've got to lose 1 pound a week because you're told that's the way. So it's much
slow and steady wins.
Slow, yeah. No, it doesn't. Get it off you. Yeah. Get rid of it.
Finish it.
Get it off you. Finish
Done.
It. And if I'd known that, it would have made my life a lot easier. It probably would have made getting started easier. Made me feel more, because it always seemed like an insurmountable task that was going to go on forever and ever and ever. Maintenance is. forever. But weight loss isn't. So that was definitely one.
Yeah, I think that one for me as well. But we learned that very early
in Body Slims. Anyway.
Yeah, the first week.
Yeah, for sure. And that is a real like, it is quite a
it was, yeah.
Moment. Like the person who's really struggling midway or digging deep midway is the consistency, definitely, and the fact that this is short-lived. So just give it 100% for the shortest period of time, and it'll go. It'll start rolling with, as long as you're giving it 100%, as long as you're being truthful to yourself about what you're doing. It will go. It will shift. It can't stay there. It just can't. I remember I used to say that to you as well. There was points where you were struggling in the middle. Not struggling, but you were stuck maybe for a little. I remember saying, it will go. Just keep going. Just keep doing it. It'll go. The other thing I was thinking about was motivation. Action precedes motivation. Yeah. You have to do it first, and then you get motivated
by the results.
Keep doing by the results to keep doing it. So the action is the most important part of it, and then being consistently active, and then the motivation comes as a result of that.
Go back to you for the middle part. If you're struggling to dig deep, I think I had my aha moments before I lost weight, but I would always go back to your questions of why. So like, why where are you the weight that you were at the start? What happened to you to bring you to that starting weight, and why are you losing weight? Kind of always going back to the whys of everything that you're doing, and if you're digging deep, to really kind of maybe re-examine those whys. Why am I doing this, and what caused me to get to that point at the start, and how do I dismantle that so I can ensure that I can live my life in maintenance? Toby asks, curious about lessons learned in maintenance. I am 88 pounds down so far. Amazing. And thank you both for inspiration. Lessons learned in maintenance is that maintenance is not a single number, it is a range, and that the focus and emphasis placed on the scales at one specific number can derail you, because the scales can, like, depending on whether you need to take a big poo or something, can change, or whether you've had an extra carbohydrate, even if you've been within calories, if you're still counting, like if you've had an extra potato, it can cause you to maybe retain more water or something like that, whatever. So maintenance is not a single number, it is a range. That's something I think a lesson for me to learn, to really kind of become okay with. And that you still need to be consistent with your actions to maintain. So for me, it's still walking. It's still doing the things like eating well, but I will eat 60 to 80% well, and then the rest of it I'll be like, I'll have the extra bit, or I'll have like dessert or something like that. Another lesson from maintenance is that exercising more, especially anything to do with strength training and dancing, is going to make you hungry.
Yeah.
And it's going to make you real hungry. And that you do need to eat sometimes. You need to eat more. Because I can tell you, coming out of dance class and like you've got nothing left in the tank, and I'm like, I need somebody to give me food quickly, and sugar will make you hungrier. So that's kind of anything for...
I think for me, a range, not a specific weight. I'm very, like, I give myself a 5 pound wriggle range kind of, and then if I go over that, it's like, no, that's it, enough of that messing. So, because as I say, I don't ever want to have to lose that weight again. So that's what keeps me, focused on version of myself that I can be. But I do think I find sometimes in maintenance I can be very strict on myself, and I forget that I'm in maintenance. Like even last night I went out and it was Mother's Day here, so I had like a Negroni, it was gorgeous. I had a glass of wine, then I had nachos shared with, and I was thinking while I was eating, oh God, I shouldn't be eating this. And I was like, no, hang on a second. Yeah. I can do this. I just can't do it tomorrow, and I can't do it the day after, and the day after, and the day after, because that's what got me in the pickle that I was in to start with. So it's, you absolutely live, and then, but don't live a little, but don't do it every day of the week. So that's one thing I do with, allow yourself to live, but make sure you don't keep repeating that behavior, because that consistency works both ways.
And do enjoy food. That's true. You kind of forget that, like, that you can eat because we've like, for both of us, we had been on diets as far back as we could remember. So the idea then that you can eat something, it's okay to eat it, was difficult. And then like for me, I was 1 month into maintenance and I got pregnant. So it was like my hunger levels, well, first they dipped dramatically and then they went really high, you know. So it was like, yeah, you're growing a human. It's okay. And listen to you. I started to trust. I think that's something I did, is that I trusted my body.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. And like for me, it was very difficult to start to get extra hungry because of the amount of exercise that I'm doing. But I was like, no, you have to eat. Like, you have to fuel yourself and fuel it with the right things, not use it as an excuse to be like, oh, I'm going to eat 5 ice creams now. You know, like actually fuel it with food that's going to make it, you know, work better. You know, sometimes I will have the ice cream. Don't have to have 5 of them. Ooh, I like this question.
Cool.
How did your weight loss affect the people around you and your close relationships? Was it something you invited people into, or did you explain in depth later? Appreciate you both. And that's from Mitchell the girl. Thank you, Mitchell. Do you want to go for it?
Did I invite people in? No. I told nobody at the beginning. Absolutely. Except my husband and my daughter, because they would see it. They'd be first hand. But I told nobody. And the reason I told nobody is because everybody is a weight loss expert, and particularly women are weight loss experts. And I just didn't want to hear and it's actually a damning indictment of our society that, you know, to be able to say that particularly women are weight loss experts, because most of us have spent most of our lives on some kind of a diet. Not all of us, but a lot of us. So everybody has an opinion because there's so much mixed information out there. So I didn't want to spend my time listening to people saying, we can't do that, that's not sustainable, you wouldn't be able to, or you have to live a little, I just didn't want that narrative going on all the time around me. And even when I went to Body Slims, I used to sit up the very front and just put my headphones in and read my book. And then when Jared would come on, I would listen to Jared, and as soon as he finished, I put my headphones in and walk out the door, because there was all of that chatter going on around, everybody making excuses for, you know, for themselves.
For their behavior. I remember that.
Yeah. So I just was like, no, I just can't do this. So I didn't tell anybody. And then as it became more apparent, I let people in. And then how did it affect your relationship? I think sometimes it shines a light, a reflection to some people who struggle with their own weight loss or their own weight management. And when they see you lose a load of weight, it kind of makes them feel a bit unconfident or a bit insecure in themselves. So I think defensive, yeah. So I there have been people that I can think of them who were just a bit, they just kind of put me a bit to the side, which was a bit strange, you know. I remember that, and a feeling a bit like, oh wow, that's great, you know, they're not being particularly warm or their normal selves with me. And then I just realised it's probably just they're just dealing with their own stuff, you know, and they don't want it. It's difficult to see the being reflected back on them. I think, how about you? You didn't.
No, I didn't tell anybody because of Addrianna's recommendation not to tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody either because I felt like this was different, and I didn't want. I told so many people so many times that I was going to lose weight, and then I would end up failing, or, you know, the bandwagon, and I just didn't want that. I just didn't. This time, because it was for me, it wasn't for anybody else. In my opinion, it was nobody else's business except Vincent, because I lived with him, and Addrianna because I was going to Body Slims with her. So like even we saw our cousin at it, and like we didn't sit with her, and like we just kind of explained that, you know, like it's that I was very delicate at the time of doing it, and she took it very well. She was like, I completely get it, you know. But I think what you were saying is when you start to lose weight or you start to change, and I think when you don't fit in the predetermined box that other people have put you into, it does hold a mirror up, and people have to look at themselves, because it's a change, and change is uncomfortable for us and for everybody around us. So when, you know, somebody's really familiar with you being one way and then you start to change, it can cause anxiety, it can cause that kind of like a stress response within you. And because it did for me. Because she rocked up and her legs were gone. And I was like, no. Where the fuck are her legs gone? I was like, oh my God, she's skinny. And then I got so defensive, got so angry that she had changed. And almost kind of felt left behind. And then firmed further into my rhetoric that to become a weight loss expert, she's not going to be able to sustain this. All he has to do is walk in calorie counting. Oh, this is a cult. Who's your man? You know, like, you know, this is all the things I'm telling myself. And I'm like, and shouldn't put it back on it, you know, like all this kind of stuff. And then it took me 18 months. And then, because I literally had to be like, after I had my realization and everything, and then I was like, this weight doesn't belong to me. And then I was like, well, how am I going to get it off? It's like, well, probably should do the thing that, you know, my sister who's done has lost 6.5 stone with, maybe I should give that a go. And then I was like, what's this body thing about? And she's like, all she could do not to be like, yay, finally, you know. So I think for me, in terms of that, it took me a while. I think for me, I just kind of treat everybody with compassion when, you know, like if people around me, if I get negative kind of feedback from changing, you know, it's just, I understand that it's most likely because maybe an unhappiness, or it reflects something that they're not happy with back on them. And it's a very subconscious thing. It's not like somebody actively decides not to, you know, not to like you anymore because of that. I think it's a lot of the times it's like it's more about them than it is about you.
Yeah, for sure.
I have lost friends since. I do believe that people are in your life for a reason, season, and a lifetime, and I wish no ill will to anybody that I was previously friends with. But I'm a different person now, and I'm not a different person just because I've lost weight. I'm a different person in many ways, but I think having that change, you know, has helped me then to create new relationships. And like my partner, our relationship is so much better than it used to be because I'm a much calmer, much more open person. So no, to answer your question, no, I didn't tell anybody except Addrianna and Vincent and 2 people in work, because I needed to disappear to do therapy and stuff. So I needed somebody to be able to cover for me, and I knew that they weren't like weight loss experts. So and then it became, it was during lockdown, and it was the first time you were allowed to have people, you know, in your bubble or whatever it was. It was June that year, and I'd lost 5 stone at that point, and that's when my mum and my brother found out, because they walked into the house and I was 5 stone lighter. They're like, what did you just do? What happened?
What have you done? And
that's when everyone was telling me, you're going to stop now.
I know, that one was a big one as well. That used to happen to me a lot on the way to. That's
all
enough
the time
now.
Yeah.
That's enough now. You've done. I'm like, what do you mean it's enough? I'm not at where I want to be yet. You know,
I'm not done yet.
Oh no, you'd be too.
You wouldn't want to lose any more now.
No, you don't want to be looking with.
Yeah.
God. You know.
No. Sass asks, did you start with the full hour of walking for body slims, or did you work up to it?
No, I'd started with the full hour, and I looked like a cat dragged backwards through a bush when I got back. I actually have a photograph. I'll send it to you. Oh my God, you wouldn't even know me. I probably have it on my shocking. Yeah, I remember my daughter opened the door going, "It'll get easier, Mum." What's to look like death? I swear to God. I said, take a photograph of me because I'm never going to look like this again. And she was like, are you sure? Tomorrow you will. I'll send it to you. You'll have to put it into this and look like death. I remember I showed it to her boyfriend recently, and he was like, holy is that you? I was like, yes. That was me. Yeah. So yes, I did. And it nearly killed me. And I had plantar fasciitis in both of my feet at the time. And it was like walking on rocks. It was literally, but I was like, I'm not quitting. I had my techno music in my ear, and I was like, I am going for this. But it took me like an hour. I didn't get very far in an hour, but it doesn't matter. I walked for the hour. So yes is the short answer to that question, and it nearly killed me. Go big or go home.
That's one way to do it anyway.
Did you didn't?
No, I tried.
Yeah, and then you wrecked yourself.
And then I pinched the cartilage in my knee trying to keep up with them on the body slims walk, and they used to do it on the pier in Blackrock. Pinched the cartilage in my knee, and then got unceremoniously, like my doctor was like back to 15 minutes, Carla, and then 5 minutes a week after that. So yeah, it wasn't until week 10 that I was able to get a full hour in. And then I did the 10K.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I don't have to do the 10K. And then Jared was like, if you don't do the 10K, you can't say you did body slims. What everything else?
Yes, damn it.
Somebody asked me, have you always been vegan or just since you lost weight? No, I have been some kind of vegetarian, pescatarian, vegan hybrid for 12, 15 years. I have a video about veganism up here, or plant-basedness up here, because I'm not like a vegan. I'm just like, trying my hardest. Addrianna is not.
Although you wouldn't spend a day with me, you'd think I probably was, but no, I'm not a vegan.
No. Big Sky Nerd. I love people's YouTube handles are always so different to like Instagram ones. Asked, do you still find times that you sabotage yourself for days after holiday seasons, etc.? How do you get yourself back on solid ground?
I'm doing that now because I was away for 2 weeks and I had all the cheese and all the wine and all of everything, and it was divine for 2 weeks. And then I came back for about a week, and then I went to Germany. So you're at the mercy of restaurants, eating out, client dinners, blah, 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 blah. So it's just kind of chaos. And then routine is your friend, So I'm at the upper end of where I like to be in my wriggle room. So I'm like, that's it. So now it's just a case of I go back to basics. I go back to like counting calories, sticking to playing by the rules, being given 100% every day, and I know it'll be gone in a week, in like 10 days or so. So how do I just go back to basics is how I start.
Like a reset.
Yeah. Like that's it, back to square one again. And I have all the little things. Are you feeding your tongue? Are you, all those kind of little things, phrases that Jared would say, in
do you really body slims, or
do you, are you hungry? Or you just, just the reset, because you do get into patterns. It's so easy to fall into patterns, again. We're creatures of habit, and you just fall into patterns. So that's what I do. I just go back to reset again. And that's what I'm doing now. But I know it'll be gone in a week or so. But I don't let it keep sliding. Because that's catching it. It's catching it before it gets crazy.
I think for me, for sabotaging, I think it's when, I wouldn't say necessarily like self-sabotaging, but I would know when I'm not doing things that are in my best interest. So for example, like a thing that will have a really big effect on me and my hunger levels and my energy levels is sleep, obviously. And because I get up so early in the morning, I need to ensure that I'm in bed at a decent hour, and I need to not be sitting in bed watching Married at First Sight Australia, and I need to have turned everything off and put my meditation on and be like actively trying to sleep, as opposed to, kind of like, I only need 10 more minutes. And because I know that the next day it'll really affect me. So I've definitely had in the last like 3 kind of months let my pattern slip of sleep, like my prioritizing my sleep, prioritizing that instead of just kind of really focusing on that. And I find that if that doesn't start me off well, then I can kind of like, it ends up filtering to everything. So I'm also kind of resetting, but with sleep, to make sure that I'm not sabotaging myself in every way. Like I had to have a conversation with myself last night, like, do you want to wake up tomorrow and be cranky and exhausted all day, or do you want to turn this off and go to sleep now? And I was like, I'm gonna turn this off. Like I had to kind of, I'm just actually, it's like, because I was watching
your own parent.
I was watching Bluey, and he was like, the dad was giving Bluey the option, and of course the kid's gonna pick it. I'm like, no, I'm 37 years old. Like, I know what's better for me, but sometimes I don't always do what's best for me. But I was up I woke up before my alarm. I was out, did my walk, and I've had a much better day because I got better sleep in. So yes, I can sabotage myself, but then I kind of catch it and like do a reset.
And awareness around it is really important. And routine is your friend. Oh my God, routine is so...
And actually, her second question, I assume it's a woman, said, do you both or either have different routines weekdays versus weekends?
No, my routine is the same.
Yeah.
No, it's always the same. Actually, I treat myself normally to a 10k on a Sunday. I actually literally call it, I treat myself to a 10k on a Sunday. But that's so I would walk an extra bit on a Sunday than I would ordinarily walk. But no, there's no difference.
Yeah, I'm the same. The only difference for me on a Saturday is I take it off work. So I don't go on social media on a Saturday. So I don't share, like every morning I'll share my walk on Instagram. I choose to take Saturday for myself. So my walk is 100% for me. My day is with my family unless I have a work thing on, you know, so that's the only difference, is I'm not actively working on those days unless I have an event or something, because sometimes we can't control these things. But that's kind of where I try and focus. But I will still wake up early. I will still go for my walk. It might not be as early, but the routine, and I think because obviously I have a toddler and kids deal much better with routines, it's dictated by him. So he doesn't know it's a Saturday or Sunday. So like you gotta...
It's just morning.
It's just morning. It's let's go. Yeah. We're going to leave this one here, guys. So thank you so much for watching. We are recording a part 2. So when that is available, I'll leave it linked up here and down below. So thank you so much again for watching. Make sure if you have any more questions, actually, you can leave them down in the comments down below, and leave us the twin emoji down as well. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
We can choose our battles.
Will you give it to your chest? Do you think I've spent the time to go and look through and see what that is? No. Yeah. Okay.
One should clear one sword. Moving swiftly on.